GloRilla is out on bond. This after a felony drug arrest in Georgia. According to a statement from GloRilla's attorneys, her home in Georgia was robbed while she was out of town. GloRilla's family contacted law enforcement immediately. Deputies issued a search warrant for her home after smelling marijuana.
How do you go from being the victim of a violent home invasion to facing felony drug charges just days later? GloRilla wasn't even home when the crime happened, but now she's the one in handcuffs, while the real criminals walk free. This story isn't just shocking, it's unreal. And the deeper you look, the more twisted it gets. GloRilla, whose real name is Gloria Woods, has found herself at the center of a firestorm, one that no one saw coming. It's the kind of legal and personal chaos that flips a life upside down overnight. This isn't just another tabloid headline or a minor hiccup in a celebrity's fast-paced life. This is a full-blown crisis, one that involves felony drug charges, unanswered questions, and a tidal wave of public reaction. What makes the entire situation so bewildering is the simple fact that she wasn't even home when it all began. Imagine being thousands of miles away from your residence, living your life, maybe prepping for your next performance, or spending time with loved ones, and then getting a phone call that changes everything. That's what reportedly happened to Glo. While she was out of town, her Atlanta area home became the target of a violent break-in. 3 armed intruders forced their way inside in the middle of the night. But here's where things take a strange and troubling turn. Instead of those criminals facing charges, it's GloRilla herself who ended up in handcuffs. According to law enforcement, while investigating the break-in, deputies claimed they found illegal substances in her home, marijuana, and what they identified as a Schedule I controlled substance. That discovery turned everything on its head. What started as Glo being a clear victim of a crime somehow shifted into her becoming a suspect in another. In the blink of an eye, she went from filing police reports to fighting felony charges. The charges she's facing are not minor infractions. Georgia's laws around controlled substances are notoriously harsh. One charge is for possession of a Schedule I drug, a category that includes substances like ecstasy, heroin, LSD, and others deemed to have a high potential for abuse and no accepted medical use. The other is for marijuana possession over the state's legal limit. Taken together, these charges carry the possibility of serious jail time, heavy fines, and long-term consequences for her career and personal freedom. This would be jarring for anyone, but for GloRilla, it's especially devastating. She's one of hip-hop's brightest rising stars. Someone whose music and personality have made her a fan favorite across generations. And now, she's caught in a legal trap that fans are calling both unjust and infuriating. What's even more unsettling is that this isn't her first brush with the law this year, and for many, that fact adds another layer of complication to the public conversation. Back in April, just months before the current legal trouble, GloRilla was pulled over in Gwinnett County for making a U-turn at a red light. What could have been a simple traffic citation quickly escalated. Officers on the scene claimed they detected the odor of alcohol and marijuana, and what followed was a DUI arrest. Footage later showed her visibly shaken, and although she didn't serve time, that incident left a mark not just legally, but in the minds of critics and fans alike. Now, with this second incident unfolding, the chatter has intensified. Some people are starting to ask whether GloRilla is slipping into a pattern of risky behavior. Others argue the exact opposite, that she's being targeted because of who she is. A young, successful, outspoken black woman in the public eye. The system, they argue, isn't designed to protect people like her, it's designed to punish them, and GloRilla's legal team is standing firm on that position. Her attorneys, Marissa Goldberg and Drew Findling, have already gone on record to condemn the charges. In a powerful statement, they accused law enforcement of misplacing their priorities, focusing on a celebrity rather than the actual criminals who traumatized her family and violated her space. According to them, this case isn't just a matter of drug possession. It's a case study in how easily the justice system can be turned upside down. Their argument is simple but powerful. Why is GloRilla the only one paying a price when she wasn't even present during the alleged crime? Why have the burglars who were armed, who stole valuable property, and who invaded someone's private sanctuary not been apprehended or even publicly identified? No arrests have been made in connection to the break-in. No names have been released. No progress reported. Meanwhile, Glo was booked, fingerprinted, and held accountable for substances found in a house she hadn't entered in days. To understand the emotional gravity of the situation, you have to go back to the night of July 20th. Around 3 a.m., 3 men armed with weapons broke into her suburban Atlanta home. They likely believed it was empty, but a family member was staying there, someone who was not about to let the intruders cause harm. In a quick moment of self-defense, shots were fired. The suspects ran. No one was physically injured, but the psychological impact on the family was immediate and lasting. Police responded to a 911 call placed right after the incident. But instead of launching a full-scale manhunt for the intruders, officers said they smelled marijuana on site. That observation alone led them to secure a search warrant and return with a drug task force. Once inside the home, they claimed to have found marijuana and the controlled substance in Glo's master bedroom closet. That's what sealed her fate. From there, events moved fast. Despite not being present at the scene, GloRilla turned herself in on July 22 at the Forsyth County Jail. She posted a $22,260 bond and was released the same day, but the damage was already done. Headlines blared across media outlets, and social media exploded with both support and criticism. For Glo, this moment is about more than just clearing her name. It's about survival, both in the legal sense and in the court of public opinion. Her reputation, career momentum, and freedom are all on the line, and fans, industry peers, and cultural commentators are watching closely. This incident has also sparked a wider debate about the way Black celebrities, particularly women, are treated by the justice system. Is GloRilla being made an example of because she's famous? Is she a target because of her past? Or is this simply an unfortunate mix of timing, assumptions, and systemic bias? Whatever the case, one thing is undeniable. Her situation is layered, complex, and evolving in real time. With no progress made in catching the actual burglars, and with Glo being the only person held accountable so far, frustration continues to build. As her legal team prepares to fight in court, the public waits to see whether this turns into a story of redemption, or a cautionary tale about how quickly everything can fall apart when fame, crime, and flawed justice collide. Officers claimed to smell marijuana and brought in a narcotics team. A search warrant was issued, and what they found became the crux of the charges. Large amounts of marijuana in plain sight inside the master bedroom closet, plus a Schedule I substance that hasn't been identified publicly. Even though Glo hadn't been home in days, the items were pinned on her dot rather than deny or delay. She turned herself in on July 22 and was booked at the Forsyth County Jail. She made bond the same date, $22,260. But for her fans, it didn't feel like justice. It felt like punishment for being the victim of a robbery, and for what was allegedly found inside a space she hadn't occupied for days. Her attorneys, Marissa Goldberg and Drew Findling, wasted no time issuing a bold statement to TMZ. They slammed the case as an example of the system failing its victims. Instead of focusing on the criminals who violated her home and traumatized her loved ones, police turned their attention to the artist whose only crime, they argue, was not being there to explain the mess. They highlighted the injustice. Only GloRilla faces charges, while the actual perpetrators remain unbothered and unnamed. In their eyes, she's a scapegoat, a woman punished not for wrongdoing, but for being in the wrong place, figuratively at the wrong time. And that's a message her supporters echoed loudly. So far, law enforcement hasn't released any suspect names or updates on the burglars. Meanwhile, Glo is dominating the headlines. Social media blew up the moment the news broke. Hashtags like #FreeGlo began trending, with supporters flooding platforms to express disbelief. The question on everyone's lips: how can someone be arrested for something that happened while they weren't even there? But it wasn't all support. A portion of the internet dug up her past, pointing to her DUI and calling this situation a pattern. Some critics accused her of reckless behavior, saying she surrounds herself with bad influences. Others labeled the arrest as karma. The price of a fast-paced lifestyle lived in the spotlight. Memes, timelines, and conspiracy theories flooded social platforms. Some fans questioned whether this was targeted harassment. Was Glo being singled out because she's outspoken, successful, and unapologetically herself? Her arrest sparked wider debates about race, celebrity, privacy, and how the justice system treats public figures. Still, through the noise, many fans stood firm. One person summed it up on Twitter: she got robbed and arrested in the same week. How? And as pressure mounts, her past continues to resurface. That DUI arrest from April is being re-examined with new eyes. Not long ago, before name began trending for felony drug charges and home invasions. She was already making headlines, though for a very different kind of trouble. Back in April 2024, while driving in Gwinnett County, she was pulled over for making an illegal U-turn at a red light. A simple traffic violation on the surface. The kind that usually ends with a warning or a citation, quickly snowballed into something much more serious. The officers on the scene claimed they smelled both marijuana and alcohol as they approached her vehicle. That instantly changed the tone of the stop. What might have been a routine encounter turned into a full-fledged DUI investigation. It didn't take long for body cam footage to surface, showing Glo looking visibly shaken and uncertain. She stumbled through parts of the field sobriety test, occasionally giggling nervously, a reaction some viewers interpreted as anxiety, while others saw it as a lack of seriousness. In truth, the footage revealed a young woman under pressure, caught in a moment she wasn't fully prepared for. That moment captured, uploaded, and dissected by millions painted a complex portrait. She wasn't aggressive, she wasn't combative, but she did appear disoriented, and for critics, that was enough to question her state of mind and personal choices. Although she avoided jail time, the incident left a permanent fingerprint on her public image. The court may have let it go, but the public memory, not so much. Now, fast forward to the present. With her facing new felony charges related to drug possession, that old DUI incident is resurfacing like smoke from an old fire. Suddenly, people are drawing lines between the two cases. Online commentators, journalists, and even casual fans are beginning to ask, is this just a series of unfortunate events, or is GloRilla on a downward spiral? Is she making poor choices, or is she being scrutinized under a microscope because of who she is and the spotlight she stands under? In the court of public opinion, the past never stays buried for long, and in GloRilla's case, it's being weaponized. The narrative some are pushing is that this is a pattern, one that began with the DUI and is now escalating, but others are calling foul, insisting she's being unfairly judged and over-policed simply because of her fame, her race, and her unapologetic persona. They argue that many young adults make mistakes, especially in high-pressure industries like entertainment. The only difference, most people don't have their missteps broadcast to millions. Still, the backlash is real and relentless. Every social media post, every movement she makes, every facial expression captured by paparazzi or fan cam becomes a piece of evidence for or against her in this unspoken trial by internet. And unlike a courtroom, where facts and procedure matter, the internet runs on perception, emotion, and clickbait. Once a narrative catches fire, it's almost impossible to extinguish. But here's what makes GloRilla different. In the face of all this noise, she's not backing down. She's not hiding, not laying low, and certainly not pressing pause. Instead, she's doubling down on her art, her presence, and her brand. Even as legal clouds loom overhead, Glo is still grinding. She recently dropped the music video for her latest single, Typa, and it's already sparked a fresh wave of buzz across the industry. But it's not just the beat that's got people talking, it's the video itself, and more specifically, her co-star, NFL wide receiver, Xavier Legette. Known for his on-field explosiveness and Southern charisma, Legette appears shirtless, playful, and undeniably intimate with GloRilla throughout the video. Their chemistry is magnetic. The two share multiple sultry moments, a dimly lit bedroom scene, stolen glances, a lingering kiss, and suddenly the internet is lit with speculation. Are they just acting? Or is something real brewing behind the scenes? Fans have taken to TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, breaking down every second of the video like investigators in a crime drama. The way he looks at her, the way she leans in, the way their body language seems a little too natural. The theories are endless. Adding fuel to the fire are the lyrics to Tip It itself. Glo describes her ideal man, country, confident, and capable of showing her a good time. Xavier Legette, with his thick Southern accent and viral fame for quirky food preferences, checks every single box. The song feels personal. The visuals feel authentic, and for fans starving for drama, this felt like a double win. Music and a potential romance. Also featured in the video is none other than R&B powerhouse Kishia Cole, whose timeless hit Love is sampled in the track. Her presence gives the project even more weight, bridging generational gaps and signaling that Glo isn't just chasing clout. She's paying homage, building legacy, and threading her music through cultural DNA. It's a smart move, and one that proves she's thinking long-term. Even while battling short-term chaos, still, it's impossible to ignore the shadow looming over her. The video may be fire. The rumors may be entertaining, but there's a real legal case unfolding. A career on the line, a future hanging in the balance. And yet, Glo isn't letting any of it break her stride. She's showing up to interviews. She's posting on socials. She's engaging with fans. In many ways, she's rewriting the rulebook for how a celebrity navigates scandal in the age of digital warfare. Most would retreat, go silent, or issue a notes-app apology. Not her. She's keeping the spotlight where she wants it, on the music. But make no mistake, this is a critical moment. The stakes are higher than they've ever been. One wrong step could cost her everything she's worked for. One legal miscalculation, one bad PR moment, and the whole house of cards could fall. At the same time, one big win, whether in court or on the charts, could flip the narrative entirely. Redemption is a powerful story, and fans love a comeback, almost as much as they love a scandal. So here she is, GloRilla, standing in the eye of a very public storm. With felony charges on one side, internet gossip on the other, and her career dead center. She's not running. She's not hiding. She's creating, performing, and living out loud, refusing to be defined by rumors, legal documents, or shaky headlines. Only time will tell whether this chapter ends in vindication or regret. But for now, one thing is clear. GloRilla is still fighting, still shining, and still holding her ground in a world that rarely gives second chances. The video shows steamy scenes between the two, including a lingering kiss that set social media ablaze. Glo's lyrics describe a countryman who knows how to treat her right, yet, with his southern roots and viral food habits, fits the bill. The video even features singer Keisha Cole, whose classic Love is sampled in the song, adding more buzz. Still, not all the attention has been good. Days before her arrest, Glo's concert in St. Louis was cut short due to fights breaking out in the crowd. Despite her attempts to calm the situation, the chaos forced her to end the show early. It's just one more layer in a storm of challenges surrounding her. Now out on bond, GloRilla finds herself at a pivotal moment. Her lawyers continue to push back, arguing that she had no physical connection to the drugs found in the house. Her fans keep chanting #FreeGlo. But legal analysts warn, Georgia doesn't play around when it comes to felony drug charges. The next steps could determine not only the outcome of her case, but the future of her career. GloRilla-born Gloria Woods has found herself in the middle of a legal storm that no one saw coming. Not her fans, not the public, and certainly not the music industry that's been watching her rise with wide eyes. What should have been just another milestone in her rap journey has turned into a situation that threatens to derail everything she's built. The felony drug charges filed against her are not only serious, they're shocking. Especially considering the fact that she wasn't even at her home when the incident that sparked this entire situation took place. This wasn't a drug bust, triggered by months of surveillance. No, this was a robbery, a violent home invasion. And yet, the victim, the woman whose name sells out venues and charts songs, is now the one facing the music in court. While GloRilla was out of town, likely focused on her music and appearances. 3 armed men allegedly broke into her Atlanta home during the dark hours of the night. These weren't just petty thieves, they came prepared. But instead of the story focusing on the terror they caused, the narrative took a wild left turn. As investigators combed through the house in search of evidence against the burglars, they claimed to have found illegal substances on the property. That discovery flipped the entire situation upside down. Suddenly, GloRilla wasn't just the victim of a terrifying crime, she was also the accused. It's a turn of events that left even seasoned journalists stunned. In a moment, she was no longer a chart-topping artist fighting for justice. She became a criminal defendant, staring down the barrel of Georgia's unforgiving justice system. The charges brought against her are no slap on the wrist. GloRilla is now facing 2 separate felony counts. One for possession of a Schedule I controlled substance, arguably the most serious drug classification under state and federal land, the other for having marijuana over the legal threshold. These aren't small-time charges. If convicted, she could face years behind bars, massive fines, and the kind of damage to her reputation that no publicist can clean up overnight. To make matters worse, this isn't her first run-in with law enforcement this year. Just a few months ago, GloRilla was stopped and cited for DUI in Gwinnett County, a charge that, though minor compared to what she's facing now, has only added fuel to the fire for critics and bloggers eager to label her as reckless or out of control. Some are starting to question if GloRilla is caught in a downward spiral. Is she surrounded by the wrong people? Is the pressure of fame getting to her? Or is this a case of systemic overreach, where law enforcement disproportionately targets high-profile black entertainers under the guise of maintaining order? Fans are divided, while some remain fiercely loyal, claiming she's being used as a scapegoat or example. Others worry that her choices offstage might be putting her future in jeopardy. Social media has become a battleground. Hashtags trend, opinions fly, and under every tweet or Instagram post, you'll find heated debates about who's really at fault. Some defend her fiercely, saying she's only guilty of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Others aren't so sure. And through it all, one thing is clear: her every move is now under a microscope. But GloRilla isn't going down without a fight. Her legal team has come out swinging, calling the charges unfair, overblown, and a distraction from the real issue, a violent robbery that remains unsolved. They've accused the authorities of weaponizing the drug discovery to shift blame and focus away from the actual criminals. And frankly, many in the public are asking the same question: why are the burglars still free? Why haven't there been any arrests? Why is there zero progress in catching the men who invaded a home, terrorized a family member, and walked away with valuables that, to this day, haven't been recovered? These unanswered questions have only intensified scrutiny on the police and prosecutors, creating a second scandal in the shadow of the first. The break-in occurred in the early morning hours of July 20th, when 3 armed intruders stormed GloRilla's suburban property. What they didn't anticipate was that a relative, later confirmed to be a male family member, was inside. That relative, in a moment of panic and sheer survival, reached for a firearm and returned fire. He managed to scare the intruders off before anyone was seriously hurt, but the trauma didn't end there. Valuable possessions were still taken: jewelry, electronics, and possibly unreleased music or private documents. The emotional damage, however, may outweigh the material losses. That family member now lives with the memory of defending their home with gunfire, while GloRilla is left dealing with the fallout both personally and professionally. And this isn't the first time GloRilla's name has been tied to the legal system this year. Months earlier, she was pulled over for what seemed like a routine traffic stop in a legal U-turn, but things escalated quickly. Officers on the scene claimed they smelled both marijuana and alcohol as they approached her vehicle. When body cam footage from the incident was released, the public watched as GloRilla stumbled through a field sobriety test, giggling nervously and clearly rattled. Though she wasn't arrested or sentenced to any jail time for the DUI, the footage left a lasting impression. It painted a picture of a young artist who might be living fast, perhaps too fast for her own good. And now, that past incident is back in the spotlight, cited by those who say there's a dangerous pattern emerging. With this latest legal battle brewing, questions are being asked not just in courtrooms, but across online platforms, barbershops, and music studios. Is GloRilla a rising star being unfairly targeted because of her fame? Or is she someone who hasn't yet figured out how to separate her private life from her public persona? One thing is certain: the court of public opinion has already convened. Every post, every tweet, every red carpet appearance is being dissected and judged. And while her legal team gears up for court dates and evidence filings, GloRilla herself is still moving. Her team just dropped the music video for her newest single. And it's not just the song that's turning heads. The visuals are making noise too, in the type of video. NFL rookie wide receiver Xavier Legette plays GloRilla's on-screen love interest. Their chemistry is undeniable, so undeniable that fans are now speculating if the relationship goes beyond the music video. Social media has been buzzing with rumors of a real-life romance, adding another layer of intrigue to an already complicated public narrative. It's not just about the music anymore. Every aspect of her life: who she dates, what she wears, how she reacts, is now part of the show, whether she likes it or not. And yet, even with legal woes and public scrutiny closing in, GloRilla hasn't stepped back. She's leaned in. That says something about her spirit, her hustle, and maybe her stubborn refusal to let anyone write her story for her. The real criminals who broke into GloRilla's home and fired shots remain free. No arrests, no suspects, just silence. Fans are questioning whether she's being targeted for her fame, or if this is a smokescreen for a failed investigation. Out on bond, GloRilla faces a legal and public battle that could define her future. Is this the start of a comeback or a cautionary tale? Only time will tell. One thing's clear: Gloria Woods is at a crossroads. If you found this deep dive insightful, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This story isn't over, it's just getting started.